This is the 2025 Range Rover Sport, and I hate the fact that I like how it drives so much because I don't like the interior that much, and it's really kind of conflicting. Welcome to Out Motorsports channel for cars as you are. My name is Jake, and let's talk all about what they did for 2024 and 25, because the last one I drove was a 2023, and then they took away all the buttons and knobs. So for 2025, they have changed some things visually with the options on this car. You can get a stealth pack, which gives you blacked out everything and blacked out wheels and a matte paint finish, and this one doesn't have it. And they also added a different engine option. If you want a plug-in hybrid that's not the full P550, they added a P460, and this one is a P400. So this is kind of what they've got as like the base model. It's a dynamic SE. It's the turbocharged inline 6-cylinder making 395 horsepower, 406 pound-feet of torque, paired to an 8-speed torque converter automatic transmission and standard all-wheel drive. And then otherwise, typical Range Rover stuff includes the adaptive air suspension, so we can go up and down. This is in its off-road ride height right now. And it's got adaptive suspension as well, so the shocks can get stiffer or softer based on your drive mode settings. Now, I mentioned that they changed some things inside, and that is what makes me super conflicted, so let's head in there because also it's disgusting weather out. All right, this has been the interior of the Range Rover Sport for quite some time, but they did make some changes, and those are for 2024, but this is a 25, and like I said, the last one I drove was 2023, and where I'm really conflicted here is that I don't like what they did. I saw this in the Velar last year for 2024, and they got rid of all the buttons and knobs. So there used to be a whole series of buttons for your climate control here, your drive mode, your off-road settings, everything was here, and it was easy to use, and then they just made the screen wider, and just made all this black plastic, and now you have to go through the touchscreen for everything, and it's not the quickest to respond, and once you start driving, this all gets kind of difficult to do at speed if you want to keep your eyes on the road where they should be, or, you know, on grind or whatever else, but very difficult to use at speed. I don't like it. So that is my big source of conflict. Otherwise, everything in here is the same as it's been before. The steering wheel has kind of these haptic-y buttons, but they're easy enough to deal with. You've got a full digital gauge cluster, which can be changed a bunch of different ways, and I actually like how they use the screen. I've got a digital rear view mirror, which if you don't like, you can turn that off and wave at the people in the back seat. And otherwise, yeah, it's fine. It's just this central Pivi Pro that they updated for 2024 that carries out. I think they're doing it for all their models, and I am not a fan. But I said I liked how it drove, so let's get back on the road, deal with some inauguration traffic, and talk about why I like the driving experience. All right, so a couple things with driving the Range Rover Sport, why I like it. I think the inline 6 that's in this one is a lovely engine. As soon as we get on the interstate here, I can punch it a touch. It sounds great, it makes plenty of power and torque. I don't think it needs any more, although that V8 that I had before was sure fun. It made lots of good noises. These people are gonna get in my way. Nice safe acceleration. Very well. Alright, well, we have no opportunity for me to actually punch it, so you get to take my word for it. But it sounds great, it makes plenty of power and torque, and I like it quite a bit. I've got a great seating position here, I've got good visibility out. It still has that kind of old Range Rover command style seating, whatever they call it, and the seats themselves are tremendously comfortable. So you've got a nice setup here, and I think it rides nice. It's a little soft in the normal drive mode. You can stiffen it up if you want to, but even though this is a sport, it's not especially sporty. So I would prefer to kind of waft in this more than anything. But steering has good feel, the brakes feel great. The whole thing is very confidence inspiring, whether you're kind of doing this in terrible traffic or, you know, slicing and dicing, cutting up on the BW Parkway, if any of you are from the DC metro area. So it is really confidence inspiring. I really love the way that I'm experiencing this as a driver, but dealing with this touchscreen, I'm just not into it. So the one thing that we did talk through, a few of us were sitting in here playing around earlier, and with the reduced number of buttons and the MSRP of this car, this is a $100,000 version of the Range Rover Sport, and like I said, it's like well equipped, but it's not super loaded. You know, you can get several trims higher and several engine options that are more powerful. The cost per button in here is higher than something else that you might consider like an X5, and that means every button is worth more and perhaps more special. And I think everything feels nice and special in here as far as what you touch, how you interact with it all. The materials are good. All of these side controls on the touchscreen are just not really, they're more distracting than anything, and the fact that the screen is kind of slow to respond is also not really doing it for me. Once you're into CarPlay or have your navigation going otherwise, have your music going, that is all fine. Speaking of music, this does have a Meridian branded sound system, and I think it's kind of muddy. So there's just a lot of things that are kind of little touches that I think for 100 grand, this needs to be a little more wowy to me, and it's not necessarily that. But damn, I like it. And that's where I've been conflicted since I started driving it. So I might leave you with conflict. Curious what y'all think, because is this worth 100 grand? Do you care about the touchscreen versus the knobs and buttons? I am someone who will die on the hill of knobs and buttons, but let me know what you think. I'm gonna go deal with all this disgusting weather and traffic, and we'll see you for the next one. Thank you so much for watching.